Mamas, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like you were physically present with your child, but mentally you were just checked out, you were somewhere else? Like you were busy, you were playing yesterday and worrying about tomorrow and juggling all the should you and could yous and did yous, like that's stuck in your head. I mean, do you constantly feel like you're stressed and overwhelmed and anxious, like in your daily life, in your day-to-day as a mom? I know these feelings all too well, okay? Until I read this book and it has changed my life. It's called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And this book has shifted everything for me as a woman and as a mom. And so I could not wait to share it with you guys. Like I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, to get into this, okay? So welcome mama, my name is Anya and I'm so excited that you are here. In today's video, I'm sharing 4 transformational lessons that I've taken from The Power of Now, okay? That I believe every woman should learn, every mother should learn, especially if you're craving more peace and more freedom and more presence and joy in your motherhood journey. Like this has helped me so much. This book has changed my life, okay? I appreciate you tuning in and I definitely know that your time is precious, so we're just gonna jump right into the video. Okay, so the first lesson that I learned from Power Now was that you are not your mind. I mean, that right there just blew my mind, and it took me weeks. It took me weeks to actually read the first couple chapters because I kept getting stuck. Like that one concept is pretty much overarching throughout the book, but it really gave me permission to just live. Because Eckhart Tolle breaks it down and he says you're not your mind. You are a separate entity, and the mind is what fuels the ego. It's what fuels the fears. It's what fuels all of the suffering that we actually face on a day-to-day basis. Like the mind is trying to keep us safe, but yet it does so much to distort our reality and to make us live in this fearful and unhappy way. And the thoughts of you are not your mind is so contradictory to what we hear, because you always hear about the self-help experts in a podcast talking about reprogramming your mindset and just change your mindset and things will get better. Yes, I do believe that that's true. But if you take it deeper from Tolle's perspective that you are not your mind, like the way that I saw it, I literally had a dream about this and it freaked me out, was that I was inside my own head and there was it looked like just a dark room, and there was this big blob that was moving and almost like a cloud, but it was more grayish. Anyway, that's besides the point. It was this big blob that was inside of my head, and then there was this little teeny one, and the big blob was representing my mind, and it was taking up so much space in my head. And then there was this little teeny blob in the background, and that was me. It was that's my voice. I am trying to compete with this big blob, with my mind, with the programming, with all of the fears and limiting beliefs and everything that it is stored. And it's gotten so big and so full of stuff trying to keep me safe that it's got me shrunk down and small in a corner. And I know it sounds insane. Literally, I had to sit with this. I had to meditate with this, because this one concept, it changed everything for me, okay? And if you just think about, and he talks about the compulsive thinking, it keeps us trapped. We are constantly thinking, we're constantly trying to plan, we're constantly letting our mind run. We're constantly letting our mind take over. But if you ever actually listen to your thoughts, so for example, again, these are the shifts that blew my mind. This is how I knew this was real. After having that little vision, after having that little dream, I woke up the next morning, and the first thing that I thought was, you need to get out of bed. You're running late. You need to get out of bed. You need to get up and get your day started. You keep moving. First things that I thought. Second things that I thought was, who the hell is talking to me? Okay. Because because all of the directions were, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to get to this, you should be up already, you. So if someone is saying you, then that means it's not me. Therefore, what do I want to do? Because if I was saying it, it was from my consciousness, it was my thoughts, then I would say, I need to get up. I need to get out of bed. I need to go get ready. I need to eat. But I didn't say that. The thoughts were, you need to, which confirmed that I wasn't crazy. A, and B, totally was onto something, that I was not my mind. Now it made the vision that I had dreamed the night before make sense. Okay, like there was a blob. There is the mind that is usually in control, and then there's you. But the way to break the control of the mind is to create gaps in your thinking, because then that creates more space in your life. It creates more space for consciousness and openness to flow. And I believe that starts with the awareness, like really being aware that you are not your mind. And once you make that decision, and once you like make that distinction between the two, that you are separate, then it gives you more control. And like, just think about all the fears and the traumas and the experiences that we take on as mothers, and how all of these things keeps us trapped in cycles of anxiety, of fear, of stress, of depression, of feeling overwhelmed and burnt out. Like, think of how much energy we actually spend, worrying and feeling sorry and feeling guilty about different things in our lives, about ourselves, about not feeling good enough. Like, we take on a lot. But what if, say with me, what if we suspended the idea that we are our minds, that we have to believe these things that we're thinking, and therefore we chose to believe something different? Like, how could that create space in your life? How could that play out in your life in total if you no longer held these beliefs, if you just suspended the one belief that you're not your mind, and therefore you don't have to listen to what it's saying, right? Like, it's just so freeing. At least it was for me, because I looked at it like, how much more peace would you feel in your life if you weren't constantly putting yourself down for the things that you didn't do, or things that you felt like you didn't do right, or if you didn't choose all of the horrible things that our mind can create in order to keep us in the same cycles, because it has to survive on fear. It has to survive on keeping us in this physical 3D world. And what if you just suspended, even for a day? I challenge you to suspend for a day that you are not your mind, and that all those thoughts that are running through your head, that are coming up, that are telling you you're not good enough, that are telling you you're not worthy enough, that are telling you that you're not doing enough, and you just suspended those beliefs, like, how would you actually live? How would you actually embrace being a mother? How would you embrace being a woman? All right, mamas, this is a quick one. I really wanted to create something that was personal and like so valuable to you, because I know that community is something that we've been craving and that we've been really feeling like we're missing out on lately. I dreamed of the Conscious Queendom Book Club because I wanted to create a space that would help us grow and connect, and just felt inviting and warm for us to really create that community that we've been feeling like we've been lacking for so long, while still healing the generational patterns and the cycles that we want to break, so that we can stop feeling so lost in motherhood and stop feeling so bad all the time and guilty and all the things. And I wanted to do this in a way that was like fun and made you feel good, and made you just feel like you had a place to relax with a bunch of women who actually get you, because that's hard to find. And if you can't tell about how much I love books from my beautiful bookcase behind me and all the books on it, then let me just tell you that books have played such a huge role in my life, and especially my motherhood journey, because when I got lost in a good book, I didn't feel like I was so lost in motherhood. And now I really want to share that with you, mama. Like, you do not have to go through this journey alone. There's a sisterhood. In fact, there's a whole queendom that's waiting for you. They want you to walk in and be your best self. And when you're not feeling like your best, they're still there to hold your hands and to raise you up, because that's what a real community does. So Our next Soulful Sundays, yes, that's what it is. Our Soulful Sundays is going to start soon. So click the link in the description box below so you can sign up. Spots are filling up fast, and I cannot wait to see you there, Queen. We are going to grow. We're going to elevate. We're going to do all the things this year. I'm so proud of you. Okay, so my second lesson is all you can ever deal with is the present moment. Okay? Again, life-changing. Simple, but life-changing, okay? You can cope with right now, but never the future. The past is gone, and all that you need is presented to you in the present moment. When he said that there was a difference between your life situation and your life, I was like, what? Are you serious? Like, what? And he talks about how the experience that you experience in life are not your life. Like, your life is connected to your being, to your consciousness, to your soul, to your spirit. It's like how I akin to it. So with that in mind, he says that like your life is already whole and you are complete because your being is complete, because your spirit is complete. Like, you are whole already. However, there are things in your life that you have to deal with. Like, shit happens, okay? Basically, shit happens. And it doesn't take away from who you are as a being and who you are in the overall consciousness. Your life situation is comprised of all of the circumstances and the experiences that you're experiencing. Like, if your car breaks down, or the birth of a baby, or having an argument with your partner, or anything. These are all situations that occur. And the way to deal with them is in the present moments, not worrying about them in the future, not assessing with the past. And knowing that the way to deal with them will always show up, it just gave me so much space and so much, I guess, permission to stop worrying. Like, it gave me permission to just say that right now is okay. Like, right now, everything is being taken care of because I am in the present moment. And like, I mean, this book really challenged me to just look at all of my problems, or what I thought were problems, and all the things that I was worried about were potential problems to be fixed in the future. Like, they weren't happening to me right now. And I spent so many cycles and so many seasons of my life trying to fix my life, or fix myself, or fix my anxiety, or stop my depression, or fix my control issues. Like, I was always trying to fix something because I felt like there was something wrong. And in reality, there was nothing wrong with me. What was wrong was I was, again, letting my mind take over and run the show and keep me in a pattern of compulsive thinking. And I wasn't living in the present moment. And I think that society teaches us you're always supposed to worry about the next thing. You're always supposed to be trying to get ahead. You're always trying to worry about the future. And worrying about the future just creates anxiety. And then when you're stuck in the past and you're obsessing over the past, you're stuck in depression. That's all that is. But I learned that the reason that I was trying to control things, or that I was having anxiety or just being anxious, was because I was so worried about all this stuff that was possibly going to happen in the future that I was thinking of, because my mind kept running a race, and I would stress over it, which would cause my body to feel ill and to break down and my head to hurt and all these things. And I just put out a lot of energy that I didn't need to put out because I was so focused on everything that wasn't the present moment. Let me actually find it. On page 87, I want to get this quote right. Okay, so Tolle says on page 87, gratitude for the present moment and the fullness of life now is true prosperity. It cannot come in the future. Then in time, that prosperity manifests for you in various ways. And I mean, y'all, this shook me. Like, this hit me so deep, because I've talked a lot about manifestation before, and I truly, truly believe it. But when you understand what this quote was saying, is that the only way to truly live the life of your dreams, and the only way to truly have all that you desire, is to have acceptance and gratitude for what is now, like what is in your present moment, what is in your present reality, because the feelings of gratitude and acceptance magnify, and they magnify because you know that all your needs are being met. You know that you have everything that you need, and once you accept that, and once you know that you're okay, more things come, and then he talks about prosperity will manifest for you in the future because you've already accepted what is now. You've already given gratitude for what you have now. So what I took away from this was, instead of me constantly obsessing about the future and trying to get there, focusing more on this present moment and how I can live it to the most fullest, most beautiful expression that of my being, and how I can show the most love for it, will automatically allow more things to fall into place, will automatically allow for more things for me to be grateful for that I want to happen, to give space, because my consciousness is now focused on a certain path, and that's in gratitude, that's in love. And therefore, as I continue through this journey and I see my path unfold, more and more prosperity will be mine, more and more prosperity will show up in my life, in my abundance, because I've now become a magnet to it. I'm a magnet for it. And all because I'm accepting and loving the moment that I'm in right now. Okay, so lesson number 3 from the power of now is the greatest catalyst for change in a relationship is complete acceptance of your partner as he or she is without needing to judge them or change them in any way. Woo! Powerful, okay? Powerful. So I believe that this lesson extends to not only your romantic ones, but all the relationships in your life. I mean, just think about how often we get into arguments with people. I'll use me and my partner as an example. It feels like we're constantly butting heads. And on one hand, that's a good thing because we're challenging each other to grow. We're pretty similar in some ways in our values and our beliefs and what we want for our family and our goals. But in the way that we move through the world and the way that we interact with people are different. I'm a little more extroverted when I get outside. He's a little more introverted. He likes to be behind the camera. I like to be in front of the camera. We have different personality types, but that's great because we teach each other to grow and we support each other in our growth. My mentor says all the time, like, some of the greatest work is to get in a relationship. Like, you could think you're the shit until you get partnered up with somebody else and then you realize, oh, I'm not as great as I thought. Like, now I have a lot to work on because they're mirroring the things in you that maybe you didn't admit or maybe you didn't want to admit for yourself, and they're challenging you to grow. So if you're in a good relationship anyway. And I just think about this. So I feel like when we sit in the discomfort of our relationships, when things aren't going so well, our first reaction as humans is usually to blame the other person. It's usually to find fault somewhere, to pick a fight, to complain, to argue, to aggravate the situation, to get revenge, anything. Again, that's that mind running the program. Anything to point fingers at the other person, but not at yourself, right? Anything to make them wrong and you right. That's the ego. It's the ego feeding on your life and needing to survive, to feel like it's right. So when Eckhart Tolle says that the greatest catalyst for change in your relationship is to accept your partner as they are, I just thought that was so brave. Because if I'm accepting my partner as they are, I'm not saying they're wrong, right, good, bad, anything, and I'm indifferent. Like, I'm accepting them for who they are. I'm choosing to love them anyway. It would force me to look at myself, because I'm not saying they're the problem. Even if they're doing something I don't like, they're not the problem, because I'm still reacting a certain way. I'm still having responsibility in the entire situation, no matter what it is. I'm still taking up space in this relationship. So I have a choice. And that choice could be to continue to pick a fight, continue to argue, continue to worry, continue to blame, continue to do all these things that aren't serving me or just feeding my ego, just feeding the mind and not serving my highest self. Or I can choose to show up in a way that is love, and choosing to stand in love so that there are less arguments and more presence, more space for being and growth in a relationship. Because if I'm standing in love, the other person doesn't have anything to argue with. The other person doesn't have anyone to blame either, because I'm not accepting it. I'm just saying, I love you. I see you. I may not agree, but I'm here. Like, I'm still here. And now I'm choosing to look at myself and see where I can improve so that I can show up better for you next time. Like, that's how I took the message from this book anyway. And one of two things is gonna have to happen. Either the other partner is going to rise up with you and make a stand for your relationship in the same way, which reduces a lot of the tension, a lot of the frustration, because you can go through situations without hating each other. Or they're going to see you stand in love and not be ready for it, and you're going to notice that, and they're going to notice that, because the ego wants to be right, and their consciousness isn't going to want to meet you at your consciousness, basically. So their consciousness may not be ready to meet you at your level of consciousness. If you're standing in love and they're like, I still want to fight and argue, the two don't go together. So either they're going to rise up and meet you where you are, or they're going to fall away in some way, shape, or form. They may leave, you may leave. I'm not saying this has to happen, but only one of two things can happen. Either they're going to meet you where you are and stand in love, or they're going to fall away from your life. And it's going to make room for someone new to take their place. And it just, for me, it made me feel like, it gave me some security in knowing that, okay, I can just be. I don't have to stoop down to what everyone says I have to do. I don't have to be an angry Black woman. I don't have to be fighting all the time. I don't have to fight to get my point across or to be right. I don't have to do these things. Like, I can just stand in love, because this extends to all relationships in your life. I can actually say that since reading this book a few months ago and trying to implement as best I can the teachings, I've noticed changes in both my relationships. So if you don't know, my daughter's name is Cameron, and named after her father, Cameron. So we'll call him Big Cameron. When me and Big Cameron, her father, have disagreements and things, I'm more accepting of him to go through the motions. If he needs to yell, yell. If he needs to, walk away, walk away. And I don't try to change him anymore. I just say, okay, I really didn't agree with you yelling at this particular point in time, because I wasn't raising my voice. But I understand what you're feeling. I understand the frustration. I'm here to listen. I'm trying to listen as best I can instead of over talking you, because that was one of my defense mechanisms. Is one of the ways that I fed my ego, was to talk over people or to keep trying to drill in a point and not let the other person speak. It's like me trying to be right. So I learned to let him get out what he needs to say during an argument. And if I need space, take the space so that I can come back in a better position and say, hey, look, this is what I'm hearing. This is what I'm hearing you're saying, how you're feeling. Let me know if this is right. This is how I feel. This is what I'm a stand for in this relationship. And this is what I'm not a stand for in this relationship. And what I'm not a stand for, I do not accept. Until either we're going to work to change it or we're not. And this isn't going to work. And that's pretty much the position I take, because I'm standing in love, not only for myself, but for this relationship. I want to see the both of us grow. And it's not serving me to argue. It's not serving me to yell and scream and fight anymore. Like, now I see that. And when I look at the relationship between me and my daughter, I mean, kids are some of the greatest teachers. Okay, if you ever just watch your toddler and really understand the things they're doing, you wouldn't get so upset. You really wouldn't. Because I'll take an example. One of the most annoying and frustrating things that a child can do is throw a tantrum. It'd be for the dumbest stuff to you. But to a toddler who has very limited control of their life and they're trying to take control, letting them put on their own clothes, even though they don't really know how to, is frustrating to watch. It is so frustrating. I mean, I just like, please just give me your foot. And when you try to say, hey, I can help you, let me help you, and you take the clothes and they start fussing and screaming and stuff, and you see them getting all emotional, worked up, your first instinct as a parent, as a mom, is to be like, stop it. It's nothing. I'm not just trying to help you. Like, you're trying to go in and fix the situation. But what if you accepted them as they are? Not saying tantrums are great, but all your child is really doing when they're giving you a tantrum is letting you know that they're unhappy with the situation and they need to release the energy. They need to express it, and they don't have a way to express it. They can't really talk. They don't have many coping skills. And so the only thing they can do in this situation that they know how to do is to scream and fuss and kick and fight and whatever, because they're not getting their way. But if you look back and reflect on your own arguments, when you don't get your way, you scream, you fuss, you may kick, you may yell, you may throw something because you have energy and you're upset and you're trying to expel it. But you don't want anyone telling you you're bad or you're wrong or like this is a whole other conversation. But sticking back to what the purpose is of what he's saying, without needing to judge or change them, if you let your child go through the motions and accept them as they are, understand where they are in this particular stage of development, it takes less pressure off of you to try to correct it, because you know they're whole, happy, complete as they are. They just need more skills. They just need more love. And so something that I started doing with my daughter is when she's having a tantrum, I don't let her hit me, okay? That's a no-no. We don't allow hitting, and I let her know that. But in the middle of a tantrum, I just let her to go through it, because eventually she's gonna stop. She's gonna get tired. And then I come back and I say, okay, I understand you're frustrated. I understand X, Y, and Z can be frustrating. You have to listen to mommy. Mommy's here to help you. Mommy's here to keep you safe. And we do not hit. And when you are experiencing this, or when you feel like you're upset, all I want you to do is take a deep breath. And I'm teaching her. And then you talk to mom. Let me know what's wrong. Totally different tactic than what I used to do, okay, y'all? Like, I used to get so upset. And I'm like, I don't have to change her. I don't have to change him. I can't change anyone. They're going to do what they're going to do. These are whole humans that we're dealing with every day. So why not do the best that I can? Just stand in love. Like, again, mind's freaking blown. Like, this book, I'm telling you, get this book, mamas, okay? Not sponsored, just letting you know, like, completely changed my life. And, you know, we just want to roll in the lesson 4. So happiness depends on conditions being perceived as positive, but inner peace does not. And I want you to let that one land, okay? I'm going to say it again. Happiness depends on conditions being perceived as positive, but inner peace does not. Y'all already know. Inner peace is the goal, okay? That is the goal for us. Like, you don't know how many times I used to ask my grandma what she wanted for her birthday, and she'd be like, just peace. Peace of mind. I'm like, I can't buy it at the store, grandma. But so we already know, like, inner peace is the goal for us. But nobody knows how to get there or how to maintain it. Like, everyone is trying to get to peaceful, trying to get that level of bliss and acceptance in their life. But we don't know how to navigate that. We don't know how to get there because we're so used to being stressed. We're so used to trying to just make it to okay. Honestly, I feel like this particular lesson is a combination of all the lessons we talked about so far. But it's really, really important to know that happiness and inner peace are not the same thing, okay? They are just not. And I feel like growing up, you think they're the same thing. You hear about it, but we really don't know how to be peaceful. And when you can master this lesson, like, you will change the game on so many levels of your life. Like, change the game. So basically, happiness comes from the external factors in your life and whether or not you perceive them to be positive or negative. For example, spending money, that can be perceived as positive or negative. If you feel like you have enough, then it's probably positive. If you feel like you don't have enough, it's probably negative. Moving can be seen as a good thing. It can be seen as a stressful thing. Taking care of your children, like being a full-time mom, could be seen as positive. It could be seen as negative. Being a stay-at-home mom, being a working mom, like all of these things are external factors. And they attribute to how happy you view your life to be, how satisfied, how excited you are, how happy you are to live your life. because you're viewing these everyday situations as either positive or negative. And I think to some degree, at the end of the day, we're taking a score like, I've had so many good things happen today, so that means I'm living a good life. I've had so many bad things happen today, so that means I'm living like a sucky life, and I just don't want to do this no more, and I'm just not happy with my life. Like, we get caught up with that. But what if you release the idea that the conditions or the circumstances or the experiences in your life are positive or negative, and instead just believe that they just are, and like truly accepted that like they are just circumstances, and you don't have to label them as good or bad. It's just life. See, if you can do that, then you can live in peace, because you're not attaching any emotion, you're not attaching any sort of perspective or feeling to what's going on. So the mind creates good and bad, but acceptance of what is and your life in this present moment means that everything that you're experiencing, that you're living in, is operating from your highest good, for your best self, from your highest place of consciousness, in your most sacred place of being. Like, nothing is happening to you, everything is happening for you, okay? And I'm learning to really change my perspective on how I was programmed and how I grew up through all the media and my family and friends and everything else, of believing that there's good or bad or right or wrong in my life. And I'm choosing instead to look at each experience or situation as a lesson that I have to learn, or that I'm learning and I get to learn, or treat it as a new experience that I'm gaining. And it's all coming to help me. It's all here for a purpose or a reason, and it's here to serve me in some way. And by doing this has really like created so much space for me to not take things so personally, and to not feel slighted when things go wrong, or to get overly excited when things are going well, and just know that everything is always working out. Like, it just gave me a sense of peace. And it's hard to explain. Like, I don't worry as much, because this underlying sense of peace in my life is giving me calmness when it storms, or when it feels like it's storming. And it's given me more gratitude for the beautiful moments and the moments when everything feels like it's in alignment. I'll give you an example. So the end of 2024, like, I want to say the last 2 weeks in December, my fiance lost his job and he was laid off. It's completely unexpected for me. He said that he knew that the company was going through some issues and he was getting prepared to make a transition at some point, but he definitely didn't expect it to be that soon, and we weren't financially set up in a way to absorb it. So long story short, when he got laid off, like, January was like, what the hell? Like, what we gonna do? And I just laid off. I said, you know what? Either way, we're fine. We're going to be fine. So the loss of his old job back in December actually paved the way for a even more beautiful job in February. So January was a little rocky. It was a little rough because we didn't know where the income was coming in. But I still felt a little calm. I still felt still protected and still at peace in a way. And I let him figure it out. And he actually wound up creating his own clientele, supporting us with side jobs and hustles. And either way, we were still good. Like, he found a way, and then he got a new job that was even better than the last one. And it paid a little bit more money, and it has more connections and more contacts. So my point being was that you don't know what life is going to throw at you. We didn't expect the loss of his job suddenly at the end of the year. And we didn't know what would happen. But instead of me viewing it as, oh my God, he lost his job, what are we going to do? What's going to happen? And like freaking out about it, I remained neutral. And I leaned into the support of the universe, and I leaned into the support of my partner and for me. And I said that everything's always operating out of our highest good. And it did, because now we're making even more money and we're not worried. Another example Most people view being a stay-at-home mom as good or bad, and they have all these ideas about what you should and shouldn't do, and what's right and what's wrong, and what you should do with your kids, and all this stuff, right? But here's the thing. Now I know that I get to choose what it means. You get to choose what it means. You get to choose how everything that shows up in your life means, and if it means anything at all. I now have the awareness to believe that I don't have to believe the programming. I don't have to accept what people tell me. I don't have to choose or accept the stories and the beliefs of other people. That I get to do mommy on my terms. That I get to say what feels good and what doesn't. That I get to experience being a stay-at-home mom in a way that feels beautiful. And I get to decide what it looks like, because I'm not subscribed to what other people say is good and bad or right and wrong about being a stay-at-home mom or being a mom in general. Okay? And by finding acceptance in my new role and this part of my journey, it really opened up space. And I have found more love and more peace in my life because of this. Like, more than I ever have before. I'm more confident, I'm more understanding, I'm more patient. I'm not the best at it. Like, please don't get me wrong, I have a lot of room to grow. I am still learning, I'm still figuring out this whole motherhood thing, this whole stay-at-home mom thing. It's a journey. But when I say this book has really given me space and clarity, and we talked about it earlier, gaps in thinking, because I'm not spending all my time thinking. I have more time to receive answers from source, to receive answers and divine downloads from spirit and from my own being and consciousness, because I'm not constantly burning myself out. I'm not constantly stressed. I'm not constantly worried. Now I have more time and energy to just be, to live, and to love my life and my family as we are. And that creates the peace. Like, that is the beautiful thing. To find and to be able to create peace in your life, no matter what's going on around you, is so beautiful. And I really desire that for every woman, for every mother, for every person, really. Because I do believe that having that peace and this higher level of consciousness is what's required in order for us to elevate as a community, in order for us to elevate as a species. Like, we can only grow to the level of our consciousness. And I just think that it's so important. And I'm just so grateful that I've actually read this book. And I'm probably going to keep reading it. It's probably one of those books that I read over and over and over again. I have learned that motherhood is not about doing everything perfectly. It's about choosing to be present for the moments that we experience now. Like, I truly believe that you are not your circumstances. You are not your thoughts. You are not your mind. You are not what society says you should be. And we don't have to live in the suffering caused by our minds any longer. The way to be free is to step into living in the power of the now. And that is like the best lesson that I've taken away from this entire book. This is in no way sponsored by Eckhart Tolle or The Power of the Now. This is just me sharing my honest thoughts and reflections and how they've changed and shifted since reading this book and how they've impacted my life. And I hope that by sharing my thoughts and sharing my reflections with you all about this book, that it will encourage you to share some of your own in the comments below, okay? Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel so that I can continue to make more free content like this for more mamas like you. And until next time, I'm sending you so much love and support because you deserve it. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.